Well, we spent time learning about multiplication tables, reciting rivers, learning the sea route to India, or chasing grades like they were gold. But then, after everything was said and done, we got the grades, we stepped into the real world, and then we realized that, oh, all the grades we had don't sum up to what we really need in order to conquer the world. So today on the program, we are going to be asking ourselves the question, what we wish we learned in school. Hello and welcome to Truth Hurts podcast. Yes, it is Truth Hurts, but it must be spoken. I'm here with my main man, Brother Jude of the Lord Jesus. We're rolling, we're dining, we're having a really, really good time. Hello, Brother Jude.
Hi, Faith.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Should I even be asking you how you are?
I mean, of course.
You look good. You're feeling good.
It be very normal. I'm they fine.
Yes. And we still have with us in the studio, in the building, the beautiful, the gorgeous, the super talented Clarice Dinge. Hello once more and welcome.
Hi.
So today we are, what's it today? Well, right now we're going to be discussing about the topic that affects us all. Not just because we are Cameroonians, but because we are Africans. Things we wish we learned in school. The moment we stepped into the real world after we had gotten our grades, probably even the best of results, the A grades in during ordinary level, A grades in advanced level, probably second class upper or first class. Then you get into the real world and realize that there's so much more. I don't even know about personal relations. I don't know how to take care of my mental health. I don't know how to handle the fact that there are no jobs. How do I dig deeper into entrepreneurial ventures or be able to outsource from whatever it is I have at the moment and make a living out of myself and just thrive? So much we wish we learned in school, but we're not taught. That, alongside so many other things, are going to be raised on today's edition of Truth Hurts podcast. It's only normal that I start with the lady seated right beside me. What's the very first thing you wish you learned in school? The very first thing you wish in a classroom setting or in a school milieu you were taught?
There are many things, actually. There are many things. But like I was saying the last time, I feel like, especially with this generation, one thing that I wish I learned in school, because I had to learn it by myself. One thing I wish I learned in school is social media literacy, because we're in that generation, you know. And for us that are millennials, it just happened to us. Just woke up and one day there was social media. So social media literacy, especially for everybody who is alive in this generation, should have that, should be taught social media literacy, which is literally, it's just basically teaching people how to be able to understand things on social media. When you see something on social media, how you should perceive it, whether you should think it is real, what you should believe is real, what you should know is not real, what you should take, what you should know is lies, what you should assimilate, what you should, how people you should follow, how you should follow them, how you should even relate to people on social media, how to deal with trolling, how to manage your social media literacy. I feel like especially now is something that should be taught in school.
What about you, Brother Jude?
Yeah, I think one thing which, looking at, from where I started and where I am today, one of the highest things I think I missed was they needed to have taught me from school that nobody is coming to save me. Going through school, let's forget the fact that, because it ties directly with what we learned, the formulas and all of that, as opposed to what is practical, the skills that we needed.
Yeah.
All the formulas and everything that we were learning was based on the fact that, you're going to finish school and then you go look for a job, and if you're good enough, you're definitely going to get it. That's why in school, everybody was trying to be the best, because you knew that leaving school as one among the best, it would be easy to just get a job and then you live a nice life, you get a wife, get married at around 25, 26, and then by 30 you already have a family and all. But when you get in the streets, you discover that your life rather starts, in fact your learning starts from when you get into the streets to look for work. And that brought us to having to unlearn everything that we were taught in school. So I believe that if I was taught that nobody was going to come save me, I would have prepared myself better for the unexpected.
Awesome.
Which is really amazing.
Well,
Makes sense.
since it's like a confession time,
Yeah.
before we dive into other things concerning what we wish we learned in school, one of the very first things I think I wish I learned in school was, let me start with the term mental health awareness. Yes, I used to, whenever mental health was mentioned as a word, or those two words were mentioned, the first thing that came to my mind was mad people. I didn't even know what it meant to take care of your mental health. I didn't even know what it meant to be mentally aware, to know who you are as a person, and how to handle yourself, the mood swings, the difficulties, the challenges of life.
Yeah.
Because life will test you, and all of that is going to play on your mental health. I had no idea. We were just juggling between what we're learning in school, what we're seeing our parents doing, but those conversations we never had them in the school milieu. If you ask someone what you do when you're feeling down, they wouldn't really be able to tell you. Like, I'm depressed. You never did. I didn't know what depression was until after in university. Probably that's when I really started diving, because when I heard the term depression earlier on, of course I know sadness and all of that, but it was until in university, after university even, that I was diving into what it meant for somebody to be depressed, or to go through anxiety, to go through trauma, to go through stress to the point where they're unable to function or live their lives the way they have to.
Yeah.
I wasn't taught that in school. I realized that so many of us, because we're unable to handle that mental strain or have the awareness when it comes to our mental health, we failed at so many things. Yes. The mental health awareness also made it the lack of mental health awareness also made it impossible for us to understand that failure was a part and parcel of life.
Yeah.
We were not taught how to handle failure. In fact, in the African context, you fail, that's the end of you. If you're lucky to have good family and friends, they will hold you, support you, and they would. If not, like our typical African parents, you will live with trauma for the rest of your life. Now it's on TikTok that we are talking about our traumas and the mental health issues that we went through. Yes, we're laughing about them, but we are still struggling with those things.
Yeah.
There are children that at this point in time, they don't even know what it means to show love to somebody, because you were just sent to school like that. You go, come back, you even during those interactive social events and all of that, they were just doing it without necessarily getting into the depth. So yeah, for me,
but I believe that
that's stuff I wish I knew in school,
because
was taught in school.
you're talking about those things, and it really takes us to a lot of issues, because for instance, as an individual, I studied commercial, and I am one person. I always say that I have been one kid from childhood who would be like, I don't want to do this, I prefer to do this. Right from primary school, I already started choosing. I don't want to do common entrance. I just want to do first school living because I want to go and study computer, software and this and that. In university, in secondary school, I want to do commercial because I like business and stuff. In university, I said I want to study communication and marketing with management. But there is something which I missed, and it goes in line with what they are teaching people, which of course is part of what you were mentioning. Even the consciousness of what you should learn.
It was
one
not
thing,
there.
but
Yes.
who teaches you is another thing. We don't have professionals teaching people. Even us who studied commercial. For instance, you are in class every day, they are teaching you about money. They are teaching you about some millions, this company makes this million, but they don't make it practical to make it look like this is something you can even start doing while you're in school.
It was so
They just give you a lot of
theoretical.
theory,
Yeah,
so
Mr.
many
Thank you,
things,
mystifying it.
exactly, and then you're thinking, okay, I need to finish reading this thing. Then I get to the field now, and then I start implementing. But if I was taught that this is actually it you're living, to be honest, I would have been leaving school as a millionaire, because I actually had the mind. I mean, we're doing events in school, doing stuff. We could monetize all of that.
Sure.
But because you have it in mind that I need to finish this secondary school,
Yeah.
and then get to university, finish this university, and then from then I get into the job market. Before you realize yourself, you discover that you've skipped a lot, and then life happens now.
Yeah.
And you have to deal with a lot. You are overwhelmed.
You definitely Clara is a question that has been ringing in my mind. So I wanted to ask you. I know that what you're doing now to I don't want to say make ends meet, because you're a woman who inspires a lot of young ladies. When we look at you, would say you're doing really good for yourself. What people would call a success story. But not be waiting where you learn for school.
At all.
Tell me how you don't reach so you take land for this side where you land. Give us a little backstory.
At all. So I studied petroleum engineering in the university.
Wow.
Graduated 2014, and then during that period of graduation, that was when there was like a big recession in the oil industry. Oil companies were laying off workers, oil companies were folding up. There was a big recession. So of course nobody was employing anybody new in that field anymore because of that recession. So I had to now tap into other things I liked to do. When I was in school, I used to like blogging. I was not even doing I wanted to be a blogger. I just wanted a platform where I could just express myself and then share stories I like sharing. So I said, okay, let me take this thing seriously, and that's how I got into blogging, got into entertainment, got into entrepreneurship. Like they say, the rest is history.
There's better media, better things, better mutumbu, better gospel, better girls, better. There is better topo. Yes, and all of that.
Exactly. So, but what I want to say is that school is not. Many people think that because what you do is not what you're studying, it's not important. I always tell people that's not true, because the fact that I believe that I've been able to do what I'm doing with this level of excellence because of my training as a petroleum engineer. That's why I'm able to do things differently. For example, as a petroleum engineer, you are trained to be scientific in your thinking. You are trying to look for a problem solution. That's how we think. That's the training that school gives you. And that's the training I brought into everything I'm doing, because I looked and said, okay, there's no platform that is doing this thing, so let me do it. There's nobody who is doing this thing like this, let me do it. This is the problem, I look for a solution. And even in every other way, and that's what I keep telling people. When they say, I don't have to go to school because I will not have a job, go to school.
Yeah.
Go to school. That training that school gives you is going to help you later in life. Even the training of you waking up in the night to study, you having assignments, you being disciplined enough to go to school for 4 years and have a degree. That discipline, you will use it in whatever you decide to do. Whether it's as an artist or whether it's as a musician, whether it's even as whatever field you decide to venture in, the training that school gave you is going to help you in that field. That discipline. It's not anybody. That's why there's a difference between people that are educated and people who are not educated. The difference is clear. Even in their manner of speaking, in their manner of thinking, in their manner of doing different things. Sure. In many fields, that many people who are not who have gone to school and are educated, when you see them in other fields, you see the way they live, you see the way they do things. It's different. Even footballers have gone to school. You see them after football, their careers are different.
Even the way they play the football is different. Because the
Drogba he had a master's degree. That is what made it to, So at the end of the day, we keep telling people that no matter, because yes, the country is difficult. Yes, you will go to school. You will likely not end up doing what you are studying. But study. Get that degree, at least a first degree, is going to change your perception. Many people are lazy these days. There's some people that they get money. People that get into like the creative industry, they just have money fast and then they spend it fast and they become poor.
And that also brings us to the fact that it looks like our schools our schools did not teach us financial literacy.
They did not teach us financial
how to handle even the small one that you have.
Exactly.
How to make money, make use of it.
How to save, how to use, how to doing, at least even keeping records of whatever it is that you have.
Thank you. Good one. Yes, we didn't know that.
Expenditure.
List of anyway. They taught us about economics. What they say?
I don't remember it.
No. See the way
scale of preference. I remember that from economics. Scale of preference and all of that. They taught us small.
There is something, right? There is something. That's why, especially in the West, that's why their education. Sometimes you see a lot of people wanting to travel to study. The reason is because most people who teach, especially practical things that have to do with society like that, they are industry professionals. They are not teachers per se. For instance, you will see maybe a CEO of Facebook giving lectures about how to build a platform.
All these persons, you understand,
they're bringing in some practicality. But for us, imagine that our teachers are people who are taught to teach. You don't understand that. Look at it this way. They are actually taught to teach. It's not like they have studied.
They don't have the experience. They don't have the experience. They have not put it to work. They don't have the experience in what they are teaching.
And that is the
problem. The theory is being passed on to them.
On the flip side, the fact that they are taught to teach, that's why they teach well. They are good teachers.
No. This is
he was
why,
saying, I think that what you is trying to say.
This is why we have a problem.
Let me explain something
to you. When I studied, for instance, let's just say marketing. The time I was studying marketing in school, in high school, I understood it so nicely. It's practical, it's easy, right?
Yeah.
But it would have been better if maybe some marketing director of the company was teaching me.
Yeah.
Reason being that the way when I mentor people, when I give lectures or when I talk to people, and then I quote examples of things I have done. For instance, I'll be talking to you about some marketing thing, and I am talking about how we're able to maybe penetrate the market with a wine brand, how it went from here to there. Those practical examples make you feel like you're a part of it, and that is something which can be done. But when it's just theory, the people are teaching you because they just want you to pass. They teach you, they finish their period, they leave. They really don't care about the practicalities.
But will you also blame them?
I
think that the system is.
There's some private schools that are doing that now.
That are getting.
Yes.
And now it's even better.
And asking for exorbitant money as
but it's supposed to be expensive. It's supposed to be.
So what happens now to the common man?
They should work.
No. See, the thing is that, right?
Education is expensive.
There's something people are not getting.
Of course,
there's something people are not getting. Education is segmented in different categories with different price tags to every category. Many people still feel that private universities teach better than public universities. Not true. Some of the best lecturers are in public universities because the government can afford to pay them.
Some of them, the government can actually afford to pay them quite all right.
Yes.
But sadly, a lot of them are refusing to do the work that they have to do because that same government is owing them months and years of salaries. So at the end of the day, even the best people that you are thinking that are supposed to be teaching in those public schools are not teaching. They now leave and go and give that knowledge to private schools. That's why you have your university. You have university lecturers.
Yes.
That, of course, if they for payroll for government.
Yes.
But if you hardly come for school, you go for a private school because you know at the end they more give money.
Now it is the lecturers they are not being responsible.
You will assess them, they do it.
No. You can have multiple. You can teach in multiple
just
schools.
Do what you are supposed to do.
Yes, but they actually earn enough. They pay per period.
No, we cannot say that teachers earn a lot in this country.
See,
they earn there is small money.
There is something people don't understand, right? Are we saying that because, for instance, they are not paying teachers well as low as primary school because we keep talking about that? Should we stop public primary schools?
No, what I'm trying to say is...
We should not, right? And who is going to teach there?
What I'm trying to say is that the person to carry the people to carry the blame are not these teachers. As much as you expect them to carry themselves with thank you. Now the government, forget to say, we call us so government. May they fix the problem. No way to where they're supposed to do. Because it's crazy. There was a teacher that died in the north. 10 years, 50 for a salary, you know, ever receive them. That story broke me to pieces. And they are hundreds of thousands of them are struggling.
Do you think that the reason those people are not being paid is because there is no money, or it's just because of mismanagement of funds? Because there are so many people who are matriculates who are receiving their salary but they are not working. That is the problem. The system, the government actually needs to go back into looking at those things. Recruit people.
I think we're being honest. I don't even think that that's a major problem of our education. I mean, the major problem is not really about teachers and whether they really receive their salaries or not. I don't think that's the issue. I just think that the issue, first of all, is like the curriculum. So, like coming up with these subjects, for example, coming up with the different subjects that children are supposed to learn in school, you know, and then teaching, making sure that they get whatever knowledge that they have to get based on whichever level that they find themselves in. I think that's the first thing. And then textbooks and all of that. Anyway, that's why there's a ministry of secondary education, all of that, basic and higher. So they're only to sit and then come up with all those things. Now, when those things have been done, the truth is, let's be honest, we have a very good curriculum. We have a good, in terms of education, let's say the curriculum is
for
good.
Knowledge, of course.
Yes, of knowledge is good. It's even better. That's why people that are abroad, most of them send their children here for secondary school and primary school because of
they study a lot.
There's a bright, I mean, they teach children a lot.
There's a lot of theory. There's no practice.
Exactly. Now, at the end of the day, education is it doesn't stay in one place now. So when it's evolving, and then you too, as parents who are at home, there's other things you teach your kids. You know, and
I did not know how to operate a computer even after I had left secondary. Like operating, when I say operator, I can put it on all of that. They type, use Microsoft and all of that, Excel and everything. Of course.
You know how
when I leave my learner on my own, how dare you? It was shameful. I didn't like when people even brought up the conversation.
I was ashamed. My father loved computers. So at home, there was a computer in the house, and I could learn. That's how I learned. And that brings us one. I already had an email. That was like 2001.
A lot of us they'll take us. Hey, Papa.
So at the end of the day, education is not only in the classroom. There's also the home. there's
Yeah.
also all of those things,
Yeah.
you know.
Now back to because we digressed a little, though it's still part of the conversation because
conversation.
it is really wide.
It is,
You realize that even things that we are thinking that it is a school that had to teach us,
Yeah.
it is, if the school was not able to teach us,
You can learn it
you should have learned it at home. Parents too, because another thing too is it looks like our parents didn't know any better.
Anyway,
Parents thought that the moment they don't say
I
for
mean,
school, they don't do their best.
Yeah.
Because them too, they don't be really go school like that.
Exactly, that's what.
So you know go really talk say you no go blame them. My
And
mother
for them,
ended
for
school
themselves.
in I think my me end school na from 4 na from 5. Yes. She didn't know much like that. Yeah. So the way they give you is based on what they have. But then one of the key things that we need to talk of is this mental health issue of a thing. Do you feel that you as a person being able to handle the stress of life, generally speaking, when things don't go your way, do you feel that you would have been able to handle it better if you had that foundation from school? In fact, at what point in time did you start taking care of your mental health?
well, I still think by the time I was an adult, truly that's when anyway, let's say
You
university.
had the consciousness
Yeah,
that
that's
hey,
when I had
this
the
is something.
consciousness that okay, this is something that you should do. And then sometimes I used to even do it without giving a name tag to it, like just being by myself, you know, introspecting. I never had like I
That
said, okay,
name,
what
yeah,
I'm
like
doing
this
is
is-
self-love.
yeah.
But I just started doing it based on life. Things happen, you have to find a way.
Facts.
And also I think the mentality for me that really helps me is the fact that nobody really owes you anything. Because you cannot
Like
come
you
outside and
said,
be, yes,
nobody will come and save you.
nobody will come and save you. Nobody owes you. I believe that nobody owes me.
They on yours.
So I don't really have expectations like that of people. Except when you come out and then you know you have graduated from school and then you're expecting. No, you don't have expectations. If they help you, fine. If they don't help you, it's okay. Find your way. You know. And I don't believe in complaining. I don't subscribe to this. I don't subscribe to this lifestyle or this culture of complaining about things I cannot fix. I don't like it. I feel like it's because like trust me, no matter how bad you think it is going for you, somebody is having it worse. Somebody somewhere is having it worse.
Yeah.
So if you sit and you keep dwelling on this, oh, the government did not, oh, they did not teach me in school. Oh, see the way you learn computer by yourself. When they say they did not teach me in school, now how the way it's helping you?
Well.
You say, oh, there's not teach me in school. Oh, there's no work. Oh, there's nothing I can do. Oh, my mother died. My father is dead. I don't have anybody in this life. Oh, this one. No, if you want to complain, you will stay in
There
the
will
same
always be
spot.
reasons to
There will always be reasons to complain. Get up, get something, and do it. That mentality, I think, that's for me. If anybody comes to me for advice, that's the best. That's what I always tell them. See, nobody's going to don't complain.
And
Take a
possibilities
decision
for
to do
learning
something.
are now very exposed because that is why you see
People on social media, they manipulate themselves to use Facebook. Nobody.
They're misusing all of those.
They
They
use
learn
those and-
video editing.
yes.
They learn
Yes.
video editing, but for the wrong
Wrong
reason.
reasons.
They
Why
learn
we
video
edit
editing
videos
to
to
go
put
and
on-
edit their boobs and ass to look
Exactly.
nice and post, but they cannot use that very phone to do
To
an
do
ad for a
something
company and
skillful.
earn. So I mean,
like right now, people are using
That's
AI
social media.
for the wrong reasons. You get to like right now, like I fell in love with this. Well, it's publicity for them. I don't really care because I'm very popular like that. Like I fell in love with editing videos, right? But it was not always easy to be on a machine and do
Yeah,
the
so
editing.
you-
So I learned video editing. I used
Yeah,
2
cool.
hours. One of the main apps I fell in love with was CapCut. And honestly speaking, the things I've been able to learn,
Yeah.
that is time and energy I would have been using doing other things. There is so much to do on that CapCut. I feel move self my one bobby.
Yes.
Put some different my bobby for there and the rest. But I'm using those skills to do different things for myself
Yeah.
to improve. So the truth is, like Claire was saying, at the end of the day, it is also your decision to know where you're lacking and see how
Yeah.
you can improve.
Simple.
You can improve on that.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, where would the complaining lead
Come
you?
from.
But I also think that another thing that schools didn't teach us was schools they gave us without necessarily knowing that they were giving us was this inferiority complex as Africans. Yes. A lot of, when we look at ourselves as Africans and we compare, of course, there are things that we lack that the Europeans have.
Yeah.
Yes, those people have, foreigners have. But I think that we were cultured, or we were made to feel that. A lot of us were made to feel that we cannot rise above their excellence or have excellence that is like theirs. Few are the people, you understand.
Yeah.
Like you it is like we were used to or mediocrity was inculcated into us at some point in time. When you feel so you be average, may you just dey so. I feel like one thing that schools lack, or probably they're struggling to get on board with, is excellence. Teaching every child that you can be excellent. Because that thing that we're in class where a certain child was dumb, and let's say was not able to understand mathematics, was not able to understand history like that, and that child was tagged a dull child and made to believe that they will never amount to a certain level of excellence until life plays its twists and turns. But if schools taught us to understand that you may be lacking in this field, but you are great at this field, and this field can help you make up for this. Because like it or not, as a human being, you cannot know everything, but you can always find a way to strike a balance. Yes, we grew up feeling like, no, the white man is better.
Exactly.
Oh, and then under as African,
it's not like we grow. It's not like we
which
grow
is
up
wrong.
feeling. It's not like we grow up feeling.
It's wrong.
That's why I always think we need to revisit what education is. Actually, from the examples, from the textbooks that they probably
if you see route to India, what are they do there?
Those things, they make you feel like this is the standard, and that
that's
we are
the word.
here.
This is the standard, and this is
that
where
the
we
problem.
are.
The truth is that we cannot even. The truth is, okay, now, if we did not study the sea route to India, for example, let's talk about Cameroon history first of all. Let's talk about history, right? Let's talk about Cameroon. If they wanted to teach fishing, and they did not teach fishing in Norway, how will you understand it?
They would have taught fishing in down
Access. Who
has documented fishing in Limbe?
But wait,
You understand?
Rice farming in Dublin. Yes.
When we get in this thing, I always want to comment because actually I am an African. That they call them Pan-Africanist. I am an African like that, right?
I am too.
Let me explain something. Just recently, somebody went to Europe and then he took a picture of Europe and then he wrote the caption that he just discovered Europe the same way the whites came and discovered Africa. Because this is what happened. They simply went somewhere, took pictures, documented, and then they discovered.
It's not
By the
like
time they were teaching you about fishing in the coast of Norway, they were already catching fish in down Limbe.
True.
Now we should rather be encouraging us
to go and do that same thing.
No, document.
Not to document our stuff now. That's what I mean.
And now,
so why is it that they were not teaching us
documented
now to document it?
That's why we need to be teaching our
that's their work now. Archaeologists, for example, that's what they learn. Now nobody wants to study archaeology in the university, but that's their work. Because we have
a lot of people who are researchers, who have the title researchers.
But what are they documented?
The research
teaching in geography, they will be teaching topography and plans and stuff, and they forget Mount Fako. They forget all the
how exploited is Mount Fako,
and they are talking about the Norways and the other. No, hey, that's what I'm saying. That
I think Jude is saying that.
I'm understanding your point, but what I'm trying to say is that the responsibility lies with us, because now we are pointing fingers, but the truth is that we don't have an organized system. For example, if you want to know what happened in America, for example, on this day,
just need to go
you will see it. But in Cameroon, it will be difficult. You might see like 7 different research papers. You have to now start getting. We're going to read that one. You got information. Read that one. We don't have.
I remember when I was
we Cameroonians are the problem. We Africans are the. We cannot blame the white man for being smart enough to be able to
when I was doing I was writing my project in 400 level, and my project was on the travails, challenges, difficulties of broadcast journalists in this country. And I toiled and I could not
get information.
I could not find documents. Practically, I dug in ways I never thought I could dig before.
But if you check for America, you will see.
It was crazy. It was really sad that we don't have. But at that, what was that time? Social media was already existing at that time. It was not that far. So is it that we are lazy and we are trying to blame other people, whereas we are the ones to take the responsibility?
I can say something on this, right? I can say something on this. I will say that our researchers are not doing enough, and it still boils down to education. Let me explain something. A research paper will hardly be validated if it's not written by maybe a doctor or an associate professor or a professor. And this is the problem, because, for instance, even me, if I write a paper and I need to really publish it for it to be valid like that, I probably need to go associate it with some bigger person. They make you feel like you need to go to school to a certain level before what you say, what you think, what you know can be valid. And that's very false. Because there is, it is. Totally false. I am against that. Then a young
You're
child.
against that. Don't me that client against it. I'm not against it.
You know what? For instance, if they say for me to maybe write a research paper that has to be valid, I should probably become a doctor or a professor. How long do I need to study? And even within the country, it's difficult to reach that standard because there are people who want to suppress you, so you don't come and start rubbing shoulders with them. That's why we have knowledge, but sometimes it's not easy to put it out there so it can be valid. You put it out there, they will see it, they will read it, they will look at it, but you cannot.
May your point,
Sina,
mommy. May your point. May fire
thing is,
cash.
okay,
Yes.
as in education there are systems, right? There are systems of doing things. So there are
You are
systems of
system,
doing
no toxic.
there
my
are
sister.
systems of doing things. Now you have to have a certain level. For example, like in science, you have to have done a certain level of research for whatever it is that you do to be accepted as a norm.
Yeah.
You have to have done. So it is normal. You cannot not have gone to school to that certain level, and then you want to come and be telling people you could be true. What you have researched could be true, but you have to pass through that filter to be, so that before we take that thing as a norm, it has to pass through that filter, which is the fact that you have to study for this number of years.
And at this same research as then you go, so then come back after cancer strike, say, oh, they never give them work.
When I saw that particular thing, I was like, for me, I'm like, these are lazy people, because as a researcher, you're not supposed to be asking people to do. You're supposed to be creating
It's
job
crazy.
opportunities. That is your work. You cannot be less studying until you get the level of PhD. You're asking people to employ you.
That's
You are
the thing,
supposed
and
to
then they are
employ
fighting
people.
job for those
They are
who did not go to
you are
the
supposed
level
to
of
employ
PhD.
people. So all of this, I think, it boils down to us and
going for
responsibilities
strike.
that we should have. So, for example, I know that our government have a whole Ministry of Research and Innovation. I feel like that's maybe one of their responsibilities. I don't know, but that's one thing that they are supposed to be doing, to make it to be, creating. People should explore. We have researchers sending people to the field, coming up with data,
Funding this project. But then again, our system is crippled by a lot of corruption and embezzlement.
That one said,
Yeah, people go take money, say go do research, put am inside their pocket, travel go with their girlfriend, then go do dorime for outside country. Chop life, post picture. This same girl and that same girl they will cover all like the post picture. Then the stress while you're getting when they feel say this, so they are not doing what
When
they
I
like.
research
See, we
that,
realize we are in a loop, like Clarice was saying earlier on. There is a huge problem. It doesn't make any sense, because the way we make life look in this country sometimes, it is like we are doomed to fail. Yes, there's a certain level of excellence. It is people that are so daring and are fearless that are really able to break away from the limitations that this country or this system is putting young persons under.
True.
Yes, if you don't have a strong mindset, a mindset that you are chasing on your own, because if it is this same system you're relying on to give you that mindset, you will fail. You will fail. I said I went to, of course, study journalism and mass communication. And back then I was excited. I knew that when I leave, I was one of the best. And when I leave, I'm going to, I was good. And my lecturers told me I was good. Everybody around was telling me I was good. The life I knew I was going to be living, the life I'm living now, of course, I'm satisfied because I've pushed myself to the limit.
Yeah.
But then, what they were telling me I was going to experience was what I thought I would experience when I leave school. I was telling myself,
like
2
night
years
and day.
tops. Tops, I'm going to be I'm going to a big girl.
You'll be Christian.
And there was a time when I was depressed until when the crisis now finally hit, because that's another thing. We are not prepared for so many things.
Exactly.
There are so
And
many
life
things
always
that
comes to surprises.
Yes. I remember when my mother called me, I was in Boya crisis. I was working for High Television at that time. There was no way. I loved my job so much, and it was aching me not to be able to go and do the wake up show. And it was so bad that time. I think 2018. My mother called me and said, "You know what? Pack your bags and come back to Fumbot." As somebody that had just left UB, because at the moment I left school, I went through that close to 6, because I was somebody that does not like to waste time. I went to about close to, I was saying 6 months, 3 months looking for a job and not getting a job, and I decided to volunteer. So I was volunteering, and my mom called me and said, "You know what? In that volunteering, I was already feeling like I failed. So I pass and go come back from, but I don't want to hear that a gun or a stray bullet picked you." And then I was sitting and telling myself, so this is me with all this intelligence. I'll go to Fumbot. I'm going to sit in my mother's house. God forbid, marry what?
Marry the chief of
Hey! And I was telling myself, so what? And that's what it dawned on me. I said, did this education really prepare me for life's challenges? Was I really equipped in school that when I leave and this happens, or this can happen? So let's now away from all of that book.
Yeah.
Yes, all those regular challenges and all those things. Nobody taught us that.
My best form of education, I always say this, right? is fundamentals. And that is why I keep blaming the system. Because the fundamental education they give our kids, right up to now, with the advent of technology, social media, you see, go to a school right up to maybe around class 4, 5, 6. You are not, these students are not learning how to use basic tools that can equip them for life, because life is technological advancement is taking over. A lot of things are happening. There is something, there was just normal internet came. Now, I mean, we were dealing with a lot of stress, and then AI has come. You cannot even decipher who is intelligent or smart and who is not, except for us who probably can sit and talk, because it is behind a keyboard.
Everybody's
This
smart.
thing I'm saying now, just anybody can go to AI and say, send me this. But our system is still not taking this important. And you know when we can learn the best is when we are still young. When you already start meeting life, what you do now is to
Rattrapage.
yes, exactly, and then you're now using those fundamentals to see how you can maneuver through life. But they're not teaching us enough. If you teach children, you can learn this skill, because with a computer, if you know how to use a computer, you can learn a lot of things just by knowing how to use a computer. But they're still not teaching our kids. They are
Okay,
still
that's why there's private school. That's why there's government school.
People cannot afford private school.
Good. No, people cannot afford private school, and people you cannot afford private school. Okay, no problem. So government school will teach what government school can teach. Another thing is that we should understand that government school prices are subsidized because the government is paying a certain amount. Let me do.
But they should
the-
equip
Of course.
It doesn't mean
Government
that
is
it's
paying
supposed to have a
is subsidized because government is paying a certain amount.
But they can still use
Now,
their own
if they
facilities will do the
school fees
small
for
thing
primary
on
school is how
me.
much? It's not 1.5. It's 1.5 now. That
No,
they
no,
pay for
still dey
PCA.
1.5
Or is it
again.
10,000?
Clarity.
I cannot remember how much.
Let me
now,
shock you.
Now, okay, they are paying that 10. Some people cannot afford it. You
No,
know that
not
now.
even that.
So if they're not saying okay, they have to increase. For example, they are trying to get labs in schools. We that have graduated from schools, there are some schools that ex-students have gone and donated.
That is actually what I was going to
Build
say.
libraries. That's another thing that brought me up. Library, the way they begin and which kind of toxic book they were there. You don't ever go to library, so really read some. Library they for government school there. You never go to library for government school, read some better thing with
That's
LMU.
right. I mean, we used to do some subcontracting for government schools, wherein we went around building modern labs, because there was an era where they were transferring books into digital when computer came, and everybody was like, yeah, I mean, everything is in the internet.
No,
but
so-
our people now, rather than even put a lot of new things, they had to take the old things and put them in the internet. So there was actually work at that time, typing everything that was in there. Not now, we didn't even know that you could just scan and then remove the text and it's entered already.
Yeah.
So they were typing, but the problem is that you see these laboratories, but you see a whole computer lab, and the person who is there to teach computer does not know computer. I mean, the person who is supposed to teach the computer does not know the computer.
But it's not all the
So how
time
do you-
now. It's in a few cases
No,
now.
but you know,
Cases now. And who are we going to blame? Okay, who are we going to blame? Somebody that is claiming to be a computer, you are claiming that you have gone to school and you have learned computer in school, but you do not learn it.
Yeah.
And now you have a certificate that you cannot back up. You come to a school, you want to teach. So who is the problem? It's not the Cameroonian that is lying. Some of them want to go and buy
The
certificate.
person that was selling that certificate, what was the person think was selling that
Is it like
certificate?
Cameroonian
Which
thing?
kind of system?
It's Cameroonians. At the end of the day, it's us. We're the ones that make the system now. We're the ones that make up the system. So
I
we are part of the
beg.
problem. Because at the end of the day, you went and did fake certificate that you can teach. They have now given you a job you cannot teach children. Because you did fake certificate. Somebody to sold you the fake. So you and that person, all of you,
They
what
go
were
and
you
they're
thinking?
teaching children how to draw box on
You understand?
Microsoft
So at the
Word.
end of the day, it's also us. That
Because that's
I
how
cannot
to
keep
draw a
blaming.
box.
I don't really believe you always. The Cameroonians are the problem.
Oh Lord!
Because why are you taking? Why are you a teacher in a classroom and you cannot teach the subject? So how did you get there?
No, but people just get there.
Corruption now. You lied.
Yeah,
Somebody
they-
lied.
they-
But in
Somebody
the English, that's some
lied.
of these. Okay, are you talking about private schools? There are private schools and there are private schools. Some of the people that are teaching in these private schools, especially English language, they don't know how to speak English.
Hey.
Some of
When
them.
I'm keep check, so story become over the Douala may be bad. We got the play. Oh. Things are happening.
True, things
Some
are
people righteous and are terrible people. You go take man for secondary school where you know again how many A level or O level
Yeah.
papers.
Some of them
Or
are
you
not
get a
vigilance.
3E. You
So
don't
you-
even get for O level. You don't even
They
get
employ
English.
any kind of
You know-
cheap labor to just come and
they
teach
go and
you.
they're teaching your children.
Yeah.
No that they're teaching your children wrong stuff. They are violating them, beating them, and
I was
probably
going
even
to tell you
sexually
that this
abusing
private
them.
school, when you talk to some of these teachers, they pay them less. When you are a government teacher, you have
a
matric
standard.
course,
Some
you
of
have a
them,
standard.
some of
But these
them.
people, you see somebody earning
Some of
30,000
them.
Yeah,
there,
some of them are,
Yes.
most of them are
20,000 there,
that's the truth.
40,000 there.
Now, in
And
terms
then
of private
they-
school too, it depends on the quality now. That's why me,
That's what I'm saying. No,
I'm
we're
one
not
of those
talking
people.
about the bourgeois
Yeah,
private
if you
school.
think about that
We're
one,
talking
one
about
of
normal
them-
private
one
school.
million, one
I'm one of
private
those
school.
people.
It's not the
I'm
kind
one
of
of those
private
people
school
that
that
believes
this
that
lady
they-
has, that they are paying, this girl's son was going there where they are paying 8 million yearly.
Mirebla.
No, not Mireille Blanc. that
Natalie.
other lady.
Me, I
Yeah.
believe that.
That's what
I
the kind
believe
of
that
private
for me,
school we're talking about.
as a parent, the best thing you can give to your child is education.
Yes.
So I
So
believe
true.
that you should invest in your child's education to the best of your capacity.
How much you can afford, my sister? Okay, if my best
Make
is
the
government
sacrifice.
school money. No,
Make
but the
the
sacrifice,
sacrifice.
if I can only sacrifice 1.5, I am sacrificing. Should my child not go to school? Yes,
No
I go.
problem. The
If
1.5 that you are
I don't have more than
sacrificing,
1,500.
get the
they
result
have
of the 1.5. It's the truth. See me.
You know, when we
If
talk
it
about
is 1.5 they have to
sacrifice,
sacrifice,
it
they
should
get the
not
result
be-
of the
it should not
1.5.
be
Most
to your
of there are
detriment.
some parents that they did not go to school, but they killed themselves to make sure that their children had the best education that they could afford for their kids.
Yeah, true.
Many parents like that, and that's the vision that I think that
And
we
it
should
was
also
their
carry.
pride.
But I feel like us in this generation, millennials are very well, because when I talk to many of my friends, they have the same opinion. Why should you spend 500,000 in a school? Why? It's not like they cannot do
No,
it.
me, I think that you should spend as much
No,
as
you
can.
should as much
Some
as you
people
can.
do not
the
believe
best.
in that. Some people have had
Especially
conversations.
the
They
best.
don't believe
Yeah.
that they should spend that.
So
kind of
what?
money.
What do you think that the
So what
child is
does-
going to go and learn?
Thank you. So what?
No,
do you
I'm
want-
like, if you
And-
get the
and-
money,
give send
and
the
and then
you know
that's
the
why
funny-
I
you know
think
the
that
funny- yeah.
I think that just like Clarice was saying that, okay, like you were saying that, oh, for those that cannot afford, you say spend the 1,500.
Yes.
I think that if as a parent you know that this is what you can afford for your child as a school,
Yeah.
you should make a way to compensate for that the absence,
loss.
the things that you don't have, by
But-
teaching them, homeschooling them,
Yes.
getting other things,
Just
other
come and
skills,
teach them.
Actually,
finding
I was
other
going to say
things,
it. I was going to
finding
say it.
other
It's
things
very
to
important.
compensate
The
for
way we
that.
went to school, right? Let me
Yes.
tell you something. I mean, probably
As
all of
about the
us
parents,
will-
children,
no,
no,
no, no,
no,
no.
no,
All of
no,
us will
teach
even
yourself
agree.
some of these
Do you know the way our parents used to know if we are
Bad.
intelligent or not? Just by looking at the number you passed. They hardly would know what you even wrote in those papers because some of them could not read.
True.
All right, so if you go to
But
school,
they
the only time,
sacrificed to
yes,
send
the
you.
only time they know that you pass is when you come
pass
back,
well.
and then they say, "Hey, I was the first." That's when my dad would be
I
like, "Hey,
think
take
that
me 1,000 on fine."
now I think that what we experience, we the millennials
Yeah.
experience with our parents, is
We
not
can
what
do
we
different-
now are experiencing with
For
our children.
children.
So we can now make up for their lapses.
Thank
Because
you.
somebody who can just read and write, I'll tell you this because it's everywhere. If you can only read and write and you can use basic for not even computer, you can actually become an amazing home tutor for your kid. It's sufficing to just go on YouTube or some platform and ask how to teach a child this age. You will see material and that will teach you how to
ChatGPT is
teach your
doing
child.
crazy
You have to
things
teach. You have to
these
speak
days.
about house, Jude.
No, I'm not
crazy
saying
things.
teach
My
the house.
God.
I'm saying, wait, no, I'm talking, no.
So this holiday now, just take one child.
No.
One day.
No, I'm talking
You
about
take
the
that child from
compensation.
school.
I'm talking about the compensation for what she was
Like
saying. Like
covering
you
up
can
for
also
some
cover
of
this
these
covering
part
up for-
this.
yeah,
You can
yeah.
cover up for this
For
part.
that,
Now
true.
it's easier. You don't need
With social
to be,
media,
to
with
have gone
internet.
to school to teach.
True,
Like
true,
I mean, on a normal, you probably would have done things for people with PhD and
Yeah,
stuff. Like
yeah.
I have when I had just my first degree, I was doing master's thesis for people, and they were having
Pay you
great
for it.
because I learned, I studied
Yeah,
a lot.
exactly.
Why you
Because-
stop am?
No. I'm saying when I still had just first degree,
Ah.
without this much knowledge, I was
Yeah.
already doing that, which
Yeah.
means that you can learn
And
even
do more.
much more than what you
Facts.
know if you're
Facts.
open to.
Facts.
But the facilities are there and the people are not using them. But it still does not go without me saying that the system is messed up.
Oh,
and
all
need
we
to
agree
fix
that one.
and
Oh, we
another
agree that one.
before we leave this topic, I want to say that, let me repeat again.
We are still on the
Parents,
topic.
invest
on
in
top.
your children's education, because the truth is that the first networking, when you like the school that your child goes to determines the people that your child is hanging
True,
around
my
with.
sister.
you don't-
It determines your child's
That one
mentality.
touch me.
It determines their child's mentality. It
It's like
determines
you're
the
talking- like you're
culture that your
talking to
child yes. It determines the culture that your child is going to adopt. It determines the lifestyle that your child is going to be exposed to. It determines the kind of vision that your
Yeah.
child will have for themselves. If your child is in a school where you don't have to have a car, but if your child is in a school where everybody that comes to drop their children, they have big cars, their child already knows that this kind of cars exist.
Yeah.
Their child will not be shocked to see a Hummer when their child has seen it in his school or her school. All of that is education.
Sure.
Because many people are, many in that generation, you are shocked to see certain things, and they find themselves doing certain things because they are not exposed. It's just like you, a girl child that is from a rich family, you cannot entice her money, you cannot be
No
deceiving
one
and tell
day.
her.
Her
Because
father
she's-
have
her
mother
father has
that
money.
given
She's
everything.
exposed to a
And that's
she's
why
Yes.
exposed to
sometimes
money.
people get spoiled.
Exactly.
Money really doesn't matter, so they just keep collecting.
Yeah, that was self day. But then there's that mentality, like on a normal child, somebody who
Yeah.
has been well cultured, expose their child to those things. So it all that
No,
education
it
begins
doesn't
in
alter
school.
their when
Yes.
they meet it
It
tomorrow,
begins
it
in
doesn't
school.
change their values.
Yes, it begins in school. So for me, education, that's how I would see that hill of spending your child to the best school. I would die there.
And even the network.
Spend the money. Do your network
The
is there.
network, like they always say,
It's
your
cool.
network is your network.
Exactly.
I can actually tie with this because some of us have gone through so much stress
Mm-hmm.
in life. It's when, of course, it's not like my parents did their best,
Mm-hmm.
not like they would have done better. But it's when you start seeing people with whom you're doing stuff, you're in the same thing. You
Yeah.
see their circle of friends, the
Exactly.
people they talk to,
Exactly.
how easy it is for them to get certain,
Certain things.
assistance and
Exactly.
stuff. You now start looking at it, and it's always like, hey, I was with
And-
this person
and
in this
that's- and
school.
that's the
I was with
expense-
this person in this
that's
school.
why all these
I was
school
with
fees
this
is
person in
expensive
this
for these
school.
particular
But you
schools.
now you see that maybe amongst your friends, like for instance, funny enough, the school I went to, maybe secondary school, we were just a few in class, and then I passed advanced almost alone. So I don't even have an ex-student association that you can be like, okay, yes, no, it's true. These things are very serious.
Serious.
Even if it's a normal school, but the kind of people when you're
Yeah.
together, people are growing, they're doing things,
Exactly.
you can help each other. And then
Exactly.
in primary school, you discover that maybe if you're going to a public school, because most of the time there are these schools that, especially like maybe technical, where they used to send children who are heady, but things have changed because technical school is one of the
It's
best schools to send
practical.
your child. But before, it used to be for heady children. Now you got there, and almost everybody there is some child who probably wants to go wayward, wants to smoke, wants to do this. And then when you leave school, your friends are all of those people.
Those kind of
Even when
people.
you want to change, they will keep dragging you. It's like the thing is haunting you every time
Exactly.
they are following
So
you. and
that's
wanting
why
to drag
I
you
would
into
die on
bad
that hill
life.
that
So
day. Give your child the best education.
But do you also think that best education is directly linked to how much? Because I always say
Okay,
these things, yeah. I mean, you can give your
Best-
child the best education,
uh-huh.
but it must not necessarily be that
The
expensive.
truth is that there's nothing good that is not expensive. There's no quality
Okay.
thing that is not expensive.
I think
Send
that
your
is
child
also
to the best-
drawing that from our society.
Society, yes.
Look at it. The
Because
best
American
Yeah.
things
school,
to
for
money.
example, is expensive.
Yeah.
British or any Cambridge school is expensive.
But do you want your child to go and learn American lifestyle?
That's not just what they
it's
teach
American
them.
lifestyle now. The child is not in America.
Yes, it's here in Cameroon.
But now, when the child goes to an American school, the American curriculum, which is what we have been saying that is better than us.
Yeah,
The American
yeah.
curriculum,
Anyway,
the child
makes
is
sense from
exposed
that
to.
angle.
Who are the
True.
children that go to American
Thank
school?
you.
It's
American
American
people.
people's children.
You're
White
widening their
children,
perspective.
ambassadors,
When
children.
your child
Widening
leaves
their
school, by the time your
perspective.
child is an adult, your child's friends are ambassadors.
Well,
No, very
that are
true.
in certain
Yeah,
Yeah,
positions.
the same thing I was
That
saying.
whose parents are in
Makes sense.
certain places.
That's what it is.
Your child just needs to make a phone call
Yes.
for say something to happen.
And then those
It will
are
not be
their
like you that
friends.
you'll be struggling to go to office and be dropping letters. Your
You-
child
So
already
by-
has-
you go
so
and
by
knock the
this-
door and the guard, Babana, who is the guard, tells you to wait.
Exactly.
Babana
So for
who cannot
me,
even
that
take
expensive
your-
school fees
your
is all those
daughter and
things.
looks like
It's
that.
all those things. It's
Yeah.
that access. It's your child's education. It's all of
So
that. So-
another thing that I think we've missed out on, may have touched on, but not touched on so much, is the fact that schools did not really apply a lot of pressure on exploiting our creativity like that.
Yeah.
Because we
True.
went to school, there were things we were gifted in, but we were not made to hone those skills and be able to now transfer them into money making skills in the
Almost key man
future.
because of gift.
Yes. So,
Yeah,
Which
extracurricular
is- yes.
activities. They are supposed to be encouraged in schools.
Yeah.
Because-
Extracurricular activities should be encouraged.
some of us probably would have made it as probably day for school, so it'd be like maybe some
painter.
well,
People
your
that
life
know
would
how
all
to draw
change.
well, fashion
Yes,
designers.
you would have been doing any other thing you're doing, but that would have even served as a side
Side
hustle, even
hustle.
become
Very
your main
true.
hustle.
Exactly.
And like Lige was saying, what you learned now in school, you can now add it to make that particular skill
Yeah.
better.
better.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
And when you
exactly.
already have focus while you're already doing that, it makes it even better because you're studying with some sort of orientation.
Exactly.
Just like I was saying that
Yeah.
as early as even primary school,
Yeah.
I said I wasn't going to do first school common entrance because I already knew that I wanted to go study computer and typewriting and stuff. I was already teaching myself because at the time that was the happening thing.
Yeah.
You know, you finish that, you can easily get a job in a documentation.
You
And
will easily get job after we do it.
no, I think yes, of course, there were jobs.
Ah.
It's not something of today. I'm talking about 2000.
No, I'm just asking her back
2003.
then if you
Yes,
had
I
the
get-
job,
I
how
got
much were they
jobs.
paying you?
it's small money. Sometimes you will get a job and they're paying you like maybe 10,000 or 12,000 monthly.
10,000 is just a number.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
That-
play. That's plenty money, I
You know,
bet.
so,
I mean, moving
And you
from there-
won't work, they be pay me 5,000 after 1 month. You talk about it.
moving on. When I got into secondary school, I was already very steady on the kind of things I wanted to study. That's why if you see me, a lot of people when I talk marketing, I always say marketing and management to me is a lifestyle. My leadership skills and the way I handle things is a lifestyle because I really didn't study it. I studying it. To me, I was simply reminding myself of the things I like and the things that I love to do. So when I go out there to want to sell something, I am not selling it because I feel like, hey, I just have to sell this out there. No, I am simply living a lifestyle, and that is what they are not teaching people, because at the end of the day, we talk about these practical things and the fact that we need to learn, but we need to also teach people to look deep. The extracurricular activities must not necessarily mean that you should probably go and learn how to be a bricklayer or this. Do you know that marketing, which customer service, for instance, is a skill?
it's a skill. Yeah,
Marketing is a skill.
exactly.
I mean, they used to talk about network marketing that people go around. It's a skill which could have been made to look nice, because till today, multi-level marketing, digital marketing, network
exists.
marketing, that's how things are sold.
Yeah.
But when we allow people to bring their doctrine and put it on us, you now live their life. You're not living your life. You're not doing it the way you want to do it. You're doing it the way they have taught you, because they want to be able to use you and not make you see the good in it. That's where the problem is.
So are we all agreeing that our schools taught us how to pass exams but not to make it in life?
I tell you, my sister.
Are we agreeing that they taught us how to have excellent grades but not to really go out there and succeed?
I think for me,
So-
our schools did what they did. They tried. It can be better, of course. It can
Yeah.
always be better. And they made us we are. That's the truth. They kind of discipline that they made us to believe in, or the kind of way that they made us to go to school, wake up early. Because in some of these foreign countries, school does not start at 6:30, 7 o'clock. So out here in Cameroon, school starts at 7 o'clock. For them,
the
some
child
people,
is already
it's
3
9, 10
to wake up
It's
that
later.
early.
But you know that all of that discipline that they made us to have is what makes us who we are. And I just think that they should make it better. Of course, it can always be better. There should be room for improvement.
to meet up with the changing times, so that
Exactly,
we
as
can
we are
adapt to the changing world.
Exactly, as
But-
things
but
are changing,
You
things should be changing.
you learned how to talk. Let's forget basic. You now reached journalism school and you learned how to talk as a journalist. You talk so nicely. Can
Thank
you also
you.
say that what you studied in school is not what?
No, I'm an
it's not-
exception to an extent.
Oh, okay. So you're saying you
yes, I'm an
actually-
exception because
Yeah.
I think that my upbringing already set me up for success.
Okay.
Yes, because in the community which I grew up,
Yeah.
and the family which I grew up with so much love. And my mother, despite being a widow and being alone and not very educated, could spot what I was very good at. And she was already encouraging me and helping me to see that this is something that I can use, yes, to be able to make a living out of myself. Watching the news and following up, watching key programs on TV, especially on CRT, for instance,
was already
became a
encouraging
key thing to do, to the point where I was already doing that. And I also had a skill in drawing. I was doing that and making and drawing some of my favorite TV personalities and all of that. So it was already part of me, and I knew, yes, that this was what was going to happen, to the point where when we even had journalists probably come to town, or we had persons that my mother would know, or other family members, my sisters would know, that were succeeding in the profession already.
Yeah.
They will find ways to tell them that, hey, this is our future journalist, this is this, and they will give me words of encouragement. They will tell me to do this, they'll tell me to do that. By the time I was already in a let's say secondary school, I was already having those conversations about what to do and what not to do as a journalist.
You already
Despite
had
the
that
fact that,
mindset.
yes, that mindset was there, despite the fact that there were things that were lacking, I knew that at some point in time
You'll be a
I was still going to be able to be a journalist and make up for those other lapses. So that mindset was already there.
You see how your mom is a perfect example of
Yes.
blending somebody who has a vision.
Yeah.
Literally home. That because that's a
Yes.
vision at home.
Exactly.
She did not have that. She did not necessarily need to know
Yeah,
go to
and-
school.
exactly.
But
To
as
do
a
that,
mother, she
she
saw that my
knew.
daughter has this. She groomed you. Make sure that you went to school.
Yes.
Made sure that she did all the necessary sacrifices, even as a widow, to make sure that you went
I did.
to school and did that journalism. that she saw
And
that
you were
had.
saying something earlier on, and we all were agreeing that
Yeah.
sending a child to school, even if I went to public school, didn't go to private
Private
school.
school.
But my mom did everything possible to make sure I had all my textbooks.
Exactly.
and she will follow. She didn't know, she's not an illiterate, but
Yeah.
she's not, of course, my level. But with the little that she knew, she made sure that she followed me up to attain the excellence that she knew I needed, and the excellence that probably she was never able to attain. And parents need to be able to do that, not just follow it up for blindly following
and
up.
I was going to even ask Clarice, especially in line with what you were saying.
Okay.
What do you think that support from family, friends, and how much your parents encourage what you're doing has helped you to, enter into this new you? Because I mean, you study stuff and all, and then you unlearn, and then you're doing this good. Do you think the encouragement and just that constant having somebody to, support
Of course,
you?
having somebody to support you is always good, but the truth is that for many people, you will not have that support, and it's okay for family not to see what you see.
Yeah.
You could be seeing yourself in this field, especially after you've done something else, and you're seeing yourself in this other thing, and your family does not necessarily agree with you because they're like, but this is what you studied. How can you be saying,
millions,
you
now
know,
you want to do this
many
one.
people don't have that mindset, and it's fine. So you who has the mindset, you who has a vision, you should be able to create an environment for yourself that is going to make that mindset to thrive. Whatever it takes, whether it is you not telling people your vision, you just doing it, whether it's you just spending time improving the skill, studying, reading, whether it's you not hanging out with people that are discouraging you, whatever will make your mind to be at ease with whatever you want to do, just do it.
No, it makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, I remember sometimes parents even have a way of having to take you away from harm, which you probably will feel like, they are instead pushing you away. This thing of skill. We also need to say this so that people don't just listen to it and they are like, you see a child probably just saying, I want to be a footballer, and not doing well in school. And then even the parent is looking at the child and seeing that this child cannot play football. Clearly, he's not good at it. Maybe there is some other thing he could be good at. But because he probably thinks he should be a footballer,
does not want to go to
others
school.
are doing this and then he does not want to go to school, he's forcing it. Because me personally, I mean, I spend a lot of time in entertainment, and one of my parents that I spent a lot of time with in Bamenda, I noticed that in entertainment, yes, I'll be out there with artists and stuff, but some of the highest time that she would call me and be like, hey, I saw you, is when she sees me maybe on TV or hears me on radio. Even while I was in CRTV in Bamenda, when we went there after school to go do volunteering and stuff, each time I was on radio just talking, she would, when I come back or when I just finish, you call, hey, I heard you on radio, my son, you were doing good. And then later I went into entertainment. I even went and worked in university, I did stuff. And then when I started getting into media again, because I spent a lot of time out, each time she sees me on TV, she would call, hey, I saw you on TV. And then you notice that she has understood that this is something which is so good for you, but because I thought, okay, maybe I should do this other thing, you keep finding yourself living what you probably would have done and bear a career with, and you're following some other things. So I think that children should also listen to their parents, because children of nowadays, they think
that they know more than
exactly, and it's something we need to actually encourage. Our parents might not have gone to school, they might say it in a way that is not so pleasant, it doesn't sound so nice in English,
but take the advice.
Exactly, take it,
Take the advice.
take it and try to look at it, because if I listen to that and actually follow journalism, maybe I would have.
I was having a conversation, like I tell my viewers every day. I tell them, I say, sometimes I look at myself, I say, anyway, I thank God for grace. I thank God for the family I grew up in. I thank God for my mom 1,000,001 times, because she did not relent her efforts, even as a woman that was abandoned with 5 girls, struggling on her own to raise them. Sometimes I say, you see this thing that your parents will be advising you and giving you advice, and you're like, no, it's boring, it sounds boring, it sounds archaic and all. I say, if I had the opportunity, I would listen to every single thing my mom has said, because there are some mishaps that I encountered. There are some wrong steps I did because I was thinking that my mother did to Mama Midi is not sounding so posh, it's not sounding so pleasant to my ear, it's not sounding so youthful, but she knew exactly what she was saying. So forget about, sometimes you want to discard the messenger, it's okay. Focus on the message. And know that there is no person. Yes, there is no. It's true that there are exceptional cases where probably you don't have good parents and good people around you. But if God has blessed you with people that really mean well for you, listen to them. Yes, listen to them.
This thing we can actually go on and on with this topic, and there will be so much to talk about. But I believe that of course,
said a lot.
We will definitely come back again and revisit this topic, especially with other people, because these are real life things and it's not going to end today. We're talking about it today, but tomorrow new things are going to come up, and people are going to need to also discuss discuss this. So we always encourage people to come out and, not just us, we are saying it, but other people can actually come out and also talk about it. For me personally, I'm encouraging people to talk about this. As we are concluding on this, of course, Fed, I think we have done so much, but then
Yes, we have.
Correct.
It's been a wonderful time. Yeah, this conversation has helped me heal small childhood trauma that in one way or the other it's relieving to talk about these things. And we're hoping that you watching were able to learn a thing or two. Like we always say, it's truth hurts, but it must be spoken. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.